Welcome in, along with Zach Robinson. I'm Steve Palazzolo. Today discussing 3 sleeper quarterbacks to know for the NFL Draft. It's all brought to you by Eckrich, the official smoked sausage of the college football playoff. Zach, when we talk about sleepers, I think it's all relative. A lot of these guys are always discussed by at least someone. But for a quarterback class that's pretty weak, are we agreeing that it's not great right now?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, we can at least look at a few guys that at least have some potential, whether it's in the mid-rounds, later rounds. So the 3 guys we want to highlight today, Stanford's KJ Costello, Duke's Daniel Jones, and then Boise State's Brett Rypien. Let's start with Costello from Stanford. Only a redshirt sophomore. Not a lot of people talking about him, but I think he's really developed. I mean, even just watching him last year, he looked like the best Stanford quarterback that they've had over there in a while. I think he's a step above what Kevin Hogan's been. What have you seen from his play so far this year? Right now, by the way, number 5 in PFF grades at 90.9.
Yeah, I'm surprised there hasn't been hardly any buzz. You don't hear much talk about him at all. He's having a great season. Like you said, keeps getting better. You saw that he had kind of those that talent there, but he just keeps developing, keeps getting better. Arm talent all over the field, down the field, up the seams. He has everything. But the biggest thing is he works the pocket like an NFL quarterback. You see it over and over. He actually has the best under pressure grade so far this season. So there's a lot to like. You don't get to see many guys work the pocket in college. Some of them are so open, but you see it happen over and over with him, and he just looks like he's got that good feel for the pocket.
What about that Stanford offense? They just keep, they have J.J. Arcega-Whiteside on the outside. They've got their big tight ends. He seems like he's more of an entry passer. He's more of a point guard with some of these guys that he's throwing to, and they literally take their big guys and post them up in the end zone sometimes. But how's that offense working for Costello and his ability to throw the ball to these big receivers?
Yeah, it's definitely an old school type of passing game. They have basic principles that are, way back West Coast. And then you mentioned the red zone stuff where they're posting guys up. They've got the mismatches, and they keep doing it. You'd like to see them kind of mix it up, let him develop with some of that stuff down in the red zone. But he's got a good feel for back shoulder, where to leave the football for those guys to make plays. So he's doing what he's asked to do, but he definitely has he has all the throws in the book. That's what you like to see.
Where do you think he is right now as far as a round projection goes? Is he a middle round guy, or could he sneak up into the top end?
If he came out this season, I think he could get first round discussion. I do. I think he's right there with, we don't know if Justin Herbert's going to come out, but you mentioned the next crop with Greer and some of those guys, maybe Haskins. I would personally put him right up there with those guys. And I think as the process were to wear on, if he comes out, I think a lot of people are going to like him.
That's high praise for KJ Costello. Now, as you were going through a lot of the numbers, you kept saying, wow, Brett Rypien from Boise State and KJ Costello, a lot of their numbers very similar this year. Different style prospects. Let's describe Rypien really quick, though. But 4 years of excellent production, and you take a look at his 4 years of grading, it just keeps getting better and better and better. And Rypien now currently number 7 in the PFF system at 90.3 overall, 4-year starter. What's his skill set like before we get into some of the comparisons numerically between him and Costello?
Definitely a little bit different. Not quite the arm talent, just a good overall operator. I think everybody's been watching Nick Mullens lately. I think a good comp is kind of Nick Mullens, just understands where to go with the football, throws the ball well down the seams, and the biggest thing is he's been clutch all season. You mentioned he keeps getting better, but best grade on third down, most big-time throws under pressure, so he doesn't have a big arm, but he's making some throws in some tight pockets, and he's great up the seams. So
Rypien and Costello are both actually top 2 on third down. Is that right? So they're right next to each other there. They're right next to each other in those big-time throws under pressure. Deep ball passing yards, 3rd and 4th. It is eerily similar from a statistical standpoint. Not saying they're the same level of prospect, but as we're breaking down these guys, a lot of similarities there.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned the third down. I was surprised with the big time throws under pressure. Just you think of maybe some other guys in that area, and then the deep passing yards, both for 2 guys that don't get talked about. We talk about the guys throwing the ball down the field with Tua and Kyler Murray. These 2 guys are right up there with those guys.
Whew, man. I'm stuffed.
Me too. Man, I think I could have taken you back in the day.
Taking me? Taking me where? What are you, 140?
Maybe. I had some game.
You're talking about flag football, right?
Nope. Paper. I'd whip your tail in paper football.
You carry around a paper football?
Every day. I don't leave home without it.
Kick it off, big boy.
You're on.
Eckrich. Get Saturday done right.
All right, now let's get into Daniel Jones from Duke, a guy that, because He's 6'5", 220, and we've discussed this before on this channel. People were already kind of projecting him as a first-round pick, so I don't know if he's a sleeper. We're calling him a sleeper because for us he was, because let's look at his career grades. A 65.7 in 2016 as a redshirt freshman, and then a 61.8 last year. Those are average to below average grades as far as college football goes, but this year played a few, fewer snaps than some of the other guys because he was banged up for a little bit, but an 86.9 grade, that's tied for 19th in college football right now. So has Jones really started to live up to the size and the athleticism and some of the projections people had for him a couple years ago? Maybe
a little bit. I think, you see just the prototypical look of a pocket passer that everybody loves, which we're finding out it doesn't really matter in today's NFL.
It really
so it's some of that talk can be thrown out the window, but he is athletic, he has a good arm. I think the accuracy is still spotty. It comes and goes. Been under pressure a lot, 8th most in FBS this season, so he has to deal with that quite a bit. But he has gotten a lot better. It's just the accuracy when he's moving off the spot has been something, even dating back to his early years, it still shows up time to time.
Yeah, so as we said, just being 6'5", 220 doesn't make you a good quarterback, whether it's Baker Mayfield at the NFL level, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, like height and all that stuff doesn't necessarily matter. It's all about accuracy and footwork and all that stuff. When I watch Daniel Jones, he does seem like, is the accuracy based off of the footwork? Is it something where he is, to reset and all that stuff? He's a little off base, off balance. Is that something that can be corrected? And NFL coaches are going to say, hey, he's got these other tools. Let me fix that base.
Sure, I think to a certain extent you can work that stuff, but gosh, when the bullets are live, you usually revert back to stuff you've always done, and so I think that is a tough thing in terms of accuracy moved off the spot. You don't see a ton of guys just all of a sudden get better at that. Now, if you're in a clean pocket, you can kind of get some guys' footwork and all that stuff in the right spot, which he's typically pretty good. But when you're moved off the spot, that's an instinctive move, and that's typically very tough to try to correct.
I hate to make the comparison just because Paxton Lynch has struggled at the NFL level, but they kind of remind me of each other a little bit as far as the size and, pretty good athleticism for that big, for big guys. But we'll see if he could do a little bit better than that. What about projections for Rippon and for Jones? Rippon, because the Mullens comparison, you calling him late round to undrafted?
I would say, I think late round, it's going to come down to a team that kind of values his style of play and kind of a pro, because he does work progressions and those types of things. And then Jones, middle rounds, I think. I wouldn't quite say day 2, but he still has a lot of upside, so I'm sure teams are going to love that.
So there you have it. Is 3 sleeper quarterbacks to know. It's all been brought to you by Eckrich. Don't forget to pick up your Eckrich smoked sausage at your local grocery store for this weekend's tailgate or homegate party. Make sure to visit EckrichFootball.com for great game day recipes and to enter their season-long $1 Million Challenge.